Hey everyone! Today we are talking about GABA supplements for resistance training. Most people believe GABA is useless because it does not cross the blood-brain barrier. That belief misses the point completely. GABA is your brain's main calming chemical. Scientists long assumed that oral GABA cannot enter the brain because it dissolves in water and carries an electrical charge. 2020 review by Boonstra and colleagues found only limited evidence that GABA reduces stress or improves sleep quality. But no human study has ever directly measured brain GABA levels after someone swallowed a GABA supplement. Many positive GABA studies were funded by supplement manufacturers with clear conflicts of interest. Branded forms of GABA and standard synthetic GABA are chemically identical molecules. No head-to-head clinical trial has ever shown that one form works better than another. The real story is that GABA works through peripheral pathways outside the brain. Your body has GABA receptors on blood vessels and in your gut and on your pituitary gland and inside skeletal muscle. Oral GABA reaches all of these tissues through your bloodstream without entering your brain. A 2020 study in the Journal of Vascular Research found type A GABA receptors on human resistance arteries. When GABA activates these receptors, it opens chloride channels and prevents smooth muscle cells from fully contracting. This causes your blood vessels to widen through a pathway that is completely separate from nitric oxide. For lifters, this means a better pump and more blood flow to working muscles. A 1985 animal study showed that systemic GABA reduced blood pressure and heart rate through peripheral mechanisms without crossing the blood-brain barrier. GABA inhibits acetylcholine release at sympathetic ganglia, and this reduces norepinephrine output throughout the body. This means less competing vasoconstriction in tissues that are not actively lifting. More of your cardiac output goes toward the muscles you are training. Your pituitary gland sits outside the blood-brain barrier and releases growth hormone into your blood. 2025 paper in Nutrients found that pituitary growth hormone cells contain their own GABA production enzymes and receptors. Oral GABA reaches this gland directly through the bloodstream and triggers signaling that increases growth hormone synthesis and secretion. A 2025 study in Biochemical and Biophysical Research Communications tested GABA plus exercise in mice. GABA activated PGC1-alpha, which is the master regulator of mitochondrial growth. This led to more mitochondrial DNA in muscle tissue and greater glycogen storage, which improves endurance capacity. All three major GABA receptor types exist throughout your gastrointestinal tract. A 2024 paper in NPJ Science of Food showed that dietary GABA activates vagal afferent neurons in the gut. These neurons send signals to your brain through the vagus nerve. This allows oral GABA to influence central nervous system activity indirectly, even though it never enters the brain directly. A 2024 study by Song and colleagues found that GABA activated the IGF-1 to act to mTOR pathway in aged mice. This pathway reduced muscle breakdown proteins and prevented age-related muscle loss. Muscle strength increased by 41 to 70%. For athletes, this means GABA helps prevent muscle protein breakdown through the same anabolic pathway activated by lifting weights and leucine. Powers and colleagues published a study in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise in 2008. 11 trained men took 3 grams of GABA or a placebo and performed a full-body resistance session. At rest, GABA elevated peak growth hormone by roughly 400% compared to placebo. During exercise, the total growth hormone response increased by about 480%. The researchers only measured hormone levels for 90 minutes. They did not measure actual muscle growth or body composition changes. A temporary growth hormone spike does not guarantee long-term hypertrophy. This study proves that GABA acutely amplifies the hormonal response to training. Sakashita and colleagues published a 12-week study in the Journal of Clinical Medicine and Research. 21 untrained men consumed 10 grams of whey protein daily or 10 grams of whey plus 100 milligrams of GABA daily. They trained twice weekly with standard resistance exercises. Whey-only group gained 146 grams of fat-free mass, while the whey plus GABA group gained 340 grams of lean mass. The GABA group gained nearly 10 times more lean mass than the protein-only group. Resting growth hormone was also elevated earlier in the GABA group. Training frequency was low and protein intake was below ideal, yet GABA produced a massive difference. This means that even a small 100 milligram daily dose enhances lean mass accretion when combined with resistance training and protein intake. Uhara and colleagues studied 50 adults over 40 in functional foods in health and disease. Subjects took 100 milligrams of GABA daily or a placebo for 12 weeks and performed daily locomotion training. There were no differences in overall muscle mass between groups, but knee extension strength increased significantly in the GABA group, especially in men, at weeks 6 and 12. Pyers and colleagues published a study in Clinical Nutritionist Ben using 26 women with obesity. The women took 200 milligrams of GABA nightly for 12 weeks and performed 3 weekly exercise sessions. The GABA group preserved lean mass and basal metabolic rate, while the placebo group lost lean mass and gained body fat. Only the GABA group improved sit-up performance. Cavagnini and colleagues established the GABA growth hormone link in 1980. 19 subjects took 5 grams of oral GABA and showed significant elevations in plasma growth hormone. Follow-up studies showed that blocking dopamine also blocked the GABA-induced growth hormone release. The researchers also found that 18 grams per day for 4 days produced no adverse effects. GABA is not as proven as creatine, but the peripheral mechanisms are well documented. The research supports taking 100 to 200 milligrams daily with protein after your workout. You can also take it in the evening since growth hormone pulses naturally during deep sleep. Chronic daily use appears more important than taking huge single doses. GABA does not need to cross the blood-brain barrier to build muscle. It triggers pituitary growth hormone release and blocks muscle breakdown through the IGF-1 to act to mTOR pathway. It opens blood vessels through receptors on smooth muscle and reduces sympathetic tone so more blood reaches your working muscles. It also promotes new mitochondrial growth inside skeletal muscle tissue. The human evidence shows that 100 to 200 milligrams daily combined with resistance training preserves lean mass and boosts growth hormone. Sakashita's study demonstrated that this low dose produced nearly 10 times more lean mass gain than protein alone over 12 weeks. You should take GABA post-workout with protein or in the evening to align with natural growth hormone release. This supplement works through mechanisms completely separate from your brain. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.